toxic stress. So we said that stressful events happen and we get bumped out of our resiliency zone. What if we spend most of our lives living outside the resiliency zone? This is when stress becomes toxic. The community resiliency model acknowledges that not everyone perceives the same event as stressful or life-threatening. So what is stressful for one person may not be stressful for another person. So we'll just go a little bit in terms of the definition of toxic stress. So I like to just show a little bit of my hand in this. So toxic stress refers to a range of, is used to describe a spectrum of stress from positive, tolerable to toxic. So when you're experiencing like exercise and your heart rate is increasing, your breathing getting rapid, that is a positive stress. And yes, you may go up in your zone briefly, but you'll come back down fairly rapidly. So that is not harmful for mind and body. But we also have tolerable stress in the middle, which is like, for example, sometimes we're taking an exam. And so it's like a time limited stressor. And the body is out of balance during the stressor. For example, when I came on, I was, nervous. So I was out of balance. But as I settle in, balance is regained. So that's a time limit. But toxic stress now is ongoing and relentless. So this can be like child abuse, child neglect, racism, sexism, etc. So I'll just put back on. Yes. So toxic stress is another word for trauma. So it causes the person's nervous system to become dysregulated, and it can send us very high or very low. So there are 3 categories that's listed here as toxic stress. So I'll talk about each one of them. So there's too much too fast, too much for too long, and too little for too long. So welcome, brother. I'm just checking in the chat. So I'm a one-person show, so I'm monitoring chat and also the presentation. I'm looking for help. So anyone knows how to do YouTube moderator, please let me know. Sorry, I don't have a way to pay you right now, but who knows when the channel grows. All right, back to the topic. So too much too fast. An example of that is a car accident or earthquake or a sudden bad news. You've heard someone says, I've got some news, or you're sitting down. So I want to ask you, how much bad news do we take in per day? When do we know it's too much? Too little for too long includes developmental trauma, ongoing trauma, which can cause the nervous system to become dysregulated. Example of that is poverty, racism, sexism, neglect, child abuse. Yeah, sometimes with child abuse, we think that once the act is done, it's done, but that child lived with that for their whole life. Too little for too long. There's a study, the ACE study, that talks about that. If you're interested, you can take a look at that. So it is known in psychology that a child that is not touched or held can die of neglect. So a baby gets stressed out when it's wet, hungry, needs a human connection, and needs to, and when their needs are not met. I'd like to talk a little bit more about poverty. So poverty under this category of too little for too long. So poverty is a source of stress. and must be addressed. So not having access to our basic needs is a source of stress, and it comes with a slew of unwholesome activities. Oops, that was my hands knocking things over. My hand. So, for example, crime, violence. So when we look at the current system, we can see very clearly that it's not designed for the well-being of the person. The system is designed for a few to get rich and the rest of us craving that richness and running after it. So not everyone can be rich. It's just not possible. It's that simple. So if someone ascribed to being rich, they're also accepting the poor. So if you access riches, you're accepting poverty. This is just the natural law of things. Yin, yang, day, night. So when I was in the monastery, I came across this teaching that talks about the 8 realizations of great beings. And the 6th one struck me. So I'll read it for you. This really helped me to have a deeper understanding of the way poverty works. The 6th realization of great beings is the awareness that poverty creates hatred and anger, which creates a vicious cycle of negative thoughts and actions. When practicing generosity, a bodhisattva or a good Samaritan, consider everyone, friends and enemies alike, to be equal. They don't condemn anyone's past wrongdoings or hate, even those presently causing harm. Wow. For me, that was quite deep. And I still get goosebumps by reading it. So in addressing the toxic stress of too little for too long, and I'm talking about poverty now, is I see grassroots movements and communities where we can focus on all having access to resources and having our basic needs met. How can we do this? So please, community, if you have ideas, I'm looking for ways, and I will be, trying different things out. Got some ideas from my new sister I met. So thank you, Empress. So please let me know if you do have ideas too. So moving on, the last point of toxic stress is too much for too long. Poverty is also under here. Microaggression, homophobia, racism. The pandemic is here. I know these days the pandemic is so far out of my mind that sometimes I'm surprised that it's still going on. But yes, it is. So there isn't racism here in Jamaica, but there's colorism, and that is a topic on its own, but it has similar harm that racism has. So racism is accumulative. It has been going on for a long, long time, and I say no more. So how can we avoid this kind of stress? It's built in the system, okay? So some of these toxic stress we talk about is built in a system that it's bigger than us. So this is where we come up with grassroots movements. So I have a question here from Glenroy. Can one get used to poverty over a period of time so they are no longer stressed by it? Actually, maybe on a cognitive level, there's not that stress about poverty, but from a survival mechanism, there is a stress because when our basic needs are not met, we're always constantly, the mind cannot settle. It's constantly looking for ways to meet its need. And that may be conscious or unconscious. So when we're in poverty and it's chronic, it becomes a habit. So that becomes our normal baseline. So we may not even realize there is another way, another world. So I remember when I came to meditative, because I was living in survival mode for a long, long time. And when I came to the meditative practice, I was so stunned because it's almost like I opened the door and entered another world. I never thought that I could experience peace and real deep joy. And for me, that was me stepping outside of my normal baseline world into another way of being or of existing in this world. So I think that yes, you can get used to poverty. So it's in your everyday mind and everyday baseline. Maybe you're not thinking that you're stressed out, but on a nervous system level, you are, because you're living in the fight and flight, the sympathetic part of the nervous system, and not in the rest and digest, where we can, have social engagement, because the parasympathetic, it breaks down even more, where we can get into social engagement, where we can feel someone else's pain, or we can connect, with people on a human level. So, yeah. So for me, it's even though one may not be aware of it, yes, it's possible to still be stressed out, even if you live in poverty all your life. And hopefully that's clear. If it's not, please let me know and I'll try again. So you can see the impact of toxic stress on the blood pressure. I know it's quite surprising, blood pressure is a common thing in our culture, having high blood pressure. And even if one tries their best and don't want it and do everything, sometimes it just happens. And we can start to understand that a little bit by seeing how the nervous system works, and especially when we talk about the rest and digest and the fight and flight. So if you're in the fight and flight all the time, yes, it's quite possible that you'll have high blood pressure or even low blood pressure. I suffered from low blood pressure for a long time, and for the past couple of years of practicing these skills and so forth, that my blood pressure is pretty much in the normal range. Thank God for that. All right, so let's do another pause before we wrap up. I think we're ending soon. Let me just see. Yeah, we're ending soon. So we'll this one is another pretty simple skill to do. Thank you for that thumbs up, brother. So name 6 colors that you can see right now. So 6 different colors. And if that's too easy, try naming 20 different colors you see right now in your space. I allow you to do that. How was that? Was it easy? Or you need more time? Okay. So the nervous system is dynamic, so creativity helps. So there are many other many other strategies under the Reset Now skill. So you can check them out. They're on the iChill app, as well as the other 5 skills that we will be learning. There's a total of 6 skills, and today we only look at 1, which is Reset Now. So changing up what skill you practice and how you practice them from time to time may be helpful, because again, we are humans and things can easily become blah. So we want to keep it alive and change it up. So right now we may name, 6 colors, we may name 20 tomorrow, or, challenge yourself and find all the reds and blues in the room.